There is something really serious about the lack of long-term investment in understanding the different societies, because I'm sure part of the problem is that there are very few newspapers now, and television channels can't on the whole afford to have as many journalists working on international issues. So you don't have people who are consistently understanding and talking about countries in Africa or countries in Latin America. So then when a disaster occurs, there aren't the people there who really understand the situation and can talk about the disaster within that context. If people could see deeper stories more often, which help them to understand more fully the social, economic, political factors affecting people's lives, I think it would be easier to see how we are one world and how the linkages work, and that these are real people just like them in other places making the best of their situation. The reality is that for many people, the only pictures they see are of starving children or wars going on, and that leads to a conception that people are just waiting for aid, waiting for help, basket cases, all the negative terms that we all know so well. To some extent, it's natural. People are going to be most interested in what happens near them and to people they know. So if something happens in one's own street, that is more interesting than something that happens on the other side of town. I think it's really important that people in a particular country have the chance to hear about their own country reported by journalists from that country, not just outsiders talking about it. When it comes to reporting on Africa to people in Britain, there's a place for both, I think. I think sometimes having somebody from Britain reporting on it actually is helpful, because it helps to interpret it to an audience, to a British audience. But I think we would benefit from having far more African voices on British television. So, personally, I would like to see a lot of the reporters that we have on the World Service being heard far more on domestic British radio and domestic television within the BBC. But similarly with other broadcasters, I think the quality of the journalism would actually be improved if we had more Sierra Leonean, Liberian, South African, Ghanaian voices, people from those countries speaking. And with English-speaking countries, actually, that's easy. It's more challenging where the language is different, but it really could be done much more than it is now, and actually, I think, often more cheaply. You can't have a vibrant democracy, you can't have a society that really truly functions without having the media there to challenge, to hold to account, to provide information to people, and to give people the opportunity to debate amongst themselves. It's terribly important that what one does is appropriate to that particular context. One example is that in the south of Iraq, we worked to create a local radio station called El Mirabad, which has within it people who come from a lot of different ethnicities. It broadcasts across a lot of southern Iraq and is really seeking to be not to tie in with one particular religious grouping or one particular ethnic grouping, but to give journalism that is for the people of that area.